Woo, here's a hot take on this week's episode.
We got really into a very beautiful discussion of the fact that there's so much negativity, and how one of the things about peaceful, positive, and purposeful is that we need to be wishing for and not against. And a lot of wishes are, I wish this wouldn't happen, or I wish this would stop happening. And that does not give us the power that we need to make the wish come true. And so by the end of it, in fact, he's still doing it. He's creating this whole Mets Yaysayers Reddit, so that we stop having the groups that he's not going to go to the groups that complain. He's going to start a group of like, what did we do right this week?
Level up, don't look back, let's go. Set the pace, watch me steal the show. Higher ground, yeah, I'm rising fast. This is my moment, it's built to last. Keep the focus, keep the drive. No slow motion, I'm alive. Power surging, can't deny. I'm unstoppable, touch the sky. Level up, yeah, this is the fight. Feel the rise.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant show. We're taking you from burned out to balanced, beautiful, and abundant by aligning your life in the 7 pillars of abundance: spirituality, fitness, emotions, romance, mindset, social, and financial. And today we are going to be talking about spiritual and emotional, which could really affect all the pillars of abundance.
I think we'll cover all of them.
We'll cover all of them. I want to tell you about my guest, Brownell Landrum. She is an author, a speaker, an inventor, a self-described change catalyst. She spent years asking this following fascinating question. What if wishing isn't just something children do when they're blowing out the birthday candles? Maybe there's an actual science behind it. Brownell is the author of over a dozen books, including The Art and Science of Wishing and her up-and-coming book, The Art and Science of Wishing at Work. Combining her corporate background, entrepreneurial experience, and gift for storytelling, Brownell helps people bridge the gap between imagination and implementation. I love that. Today, we're exploring how your wishes can become your reality, the surprising scientific principles that support manifestation, and how each of us can turn ordinary wishes into what Brownell calls cosmic wishes. Welcome to the show, Brownell Landrum.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Great to see you here. Brownell, most people stop wishing somewhere between childhood and adolescence. Why do you think people have lost touch with their ability to wish?
I think they are still wishing, but they're not taking it seriously. Like, I mean, if you think about it, I actually did some research, because me and my science and my research stuff I love to get into. But yeah. The word wish is sort of in the middle of our how frequency we use words. So it's kind of in this range of the middle. So we'll say, oh, I wish this would happen, or I wish that would happen. We just throw them out there without realizing that we're actually are wishing. The thing is, though, that we're not applying the science, or we're not realizing the power of what we're doing when we are wishing. So that's what really kind of struck me as I was getting into this whole concept is, we know what manifestation is. We know what some of these things are. But where does wishing fit? And one of the first things I had to do was define what's the difference between a wish, a prayer, and a goal.
Let's talk about that. Let's double click
the foundation. Yeah.
What is the difference between a wish, a prayer, and a goal? That's a good start.
You want to guess, or do you want me to just tell you?
Oh, okay. Let me guess. I'll put on my Princeton University Ivy League hat.
There you go.
A wish is something that is more like a reach, like you're not sure if it can happen or not. It's got greater possibility of not happening or happening. It's just like more out there. A goal is something tangible where if you take certain steps, you can achieve it. A prayer is asking God for help with either the goal or the wish.
You did a great job of defining it. I'll add a little spin, but basically the same thing. And just a kind of a little different, is generally a goal is something in your control, right? You can set a plan. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to get this degree. I'm going to take this trip or run this marathon or lose 10 pounds or something like that. So it's something that you can set a plan and make happen usually. And a prayer is kind of, as you said, it's when it's out of your control completely. And so you're asking for help from a source or energy outside your control. And the beautiful thing about wishing is that it kind of encompasses both. It can encompass the goals, and it also can encompass what I call cosmic collaboration, when you know that there are forces outside of you that can help you, and that you're allowing for that potential. And the thing I really love about wishing is that everybody does it all over the world. We've done it since the beginning of mankind. You're right. We did it more maybe as kids, or we took it more seriously as kids. But we all do it. And no matter whether you're super religious or kind of consider yourself spiritual, or maybe not at all, like total, don't believe in any of that, there are still ways to explain what I call the cosmic collaboration, which is there's different sciences, whether it's quantum physics and into some of things like that. But there are ways to engage those forces outside of our conscious control. So, and then my kind of, like you said, my principle is, how do you turn a wish into a cosmic wish? And that is by applying science. And so the more science you add to your wish, the more you bring in your control. And you actually bring more into your control in such a different way and more effective than even goals. So it takes you beyond the rigid idea of just setting goals.
So what is the science behind wishing?
Well, I think we talked about this before. I just gave a TEDx talk a few weeks ago about
Congratulations.
This. Yeah. And so it's not out yet. So please look for it, everybody. But I do talk about that every time you make a wish, you engage over a dozen sciences. So everything from anthropology to sociology, psychology, neuroscience, quantum physics, all of these areas, there's literally dozens of sciences. And again, in some ways, there's more science in wishing than there is in either prayer or goal setting.
And why is that?
Because of the fact that you can look at the sciences. Like, for example, anthropology is the first kind of pillar, right? And that anthropology, part of the anthropology in science and wishing is that the humans have wished since the beginning of time. And collective wishing, when we wish together as a tribe for better rain, or we used, these processes, that empowered our wishing together, and we start multiplying it beyond what we're doing for ourselves. And the other aspect is something that I think we overlook, is the power of ritual.
Definitely. I think athletes use a lot of the power of ritual. How does that help your wish come true?
Well, there's a lot of ways it can help you remind it. It can help you get into a focused place. Like, one of the things I like to talk about is that you could hold up a W, and that's for wish, but it's also, and you hold it to your heart when you're making your wish. And they're also engaging what I call the 3 Ps of wishing, which we'll get into. But this is a reminder. And when you use a ritual that's a daily ritual, or at least once a day, whether it's a time on the clock, or whether it's, when you're brushing your teeth, or the first star of the night, those kinds of rituals, if you do it every day, you're starting to activate the neuroplasticity of your brain. You're telling your brain this is something you're serious about doing. And that ritual, especially if it can be just simple and something you enjoy the process of doing, then you're going to want to do it every day. And it's going to make you feel better as you're making that wish. And the 3 Ps that I was just alluding to are peaceful, positive, and purposeful. So if your wish is peaceful, positive, and purposeful, and if you are in the state of being peaceful, positive, and purposeful as you're making your wish, then that ties to the ritual. So even if all you're doing every day is 1 minute of being peaceful, positive, and purposeful, you're training your brain to do that. And then that actually also triggers neuroplasticity where you're reminding it. And if you repeat it every day over an 8-week period, the science varies. Some say it's 4 weeks, some say 6, some say 8. I kind of lean to the 8. Then you're triggering all these cool aspects of your brain, like the reticular activating system, which I'm sure you know about, or the default mode network, and these parts of your brain and the subconscious is going to make you more aware of things that you weren't aware of. All of a sudden that ritual, just that simple thing of doing it every day in a good place, and you're feeling good about it. And a lot of goals don't do that. They may even feel like it's a pressure to, I've got to do this thing. I didn't get this done today. I feel bad that I didn't meet this, instead of I'm going to feel good about this and I'm going to be looking for solutions. So,
well, just in case my audience doesn't know, explain those 2 modes, the reticular activating system, and then what did you say, the default mode?
Default mode network. Yeah.
Let's explain those for the audience.
Yeah. As I said, I'm sure you know what they are, because that's, probably a key principle. And but the reticular activating system, we all know what it is. We just probably don't know the term. And that is when you get an idea in your head and all of a sudden then you start seeing it everywhere. I'm looking at buying this kind of car, and then boom, you're seeing that kind of car. Or you set a question in your brain saying, I'm looking for an answer to this. And then, you start seeing opportunities everywhere. And, Jung called it synchronicities, that we could call them that, right? That you start seeing like, wait a minute, all of a sudden, why am I seeing this thing everywhere? And there's an actual part of your brain that is seeking those solutions. So this is one of those examples of, you can consider it a spiritual thing. Also, if you're looking from a spiritual point of view, repeating that ritual every day is a reminder to your higher power or whoever you're connecting with, hey, I want this. Like, I'm serious about this. It wasn't just me, a fleeting thought, I'm serious about it. So the reticular activating system is a part of your brain, can be explained by science. And it is a part of, it can be explained from a kind of a spiritual standpoint. And so that's one part of your brain that works with you. And you start looking for these answers. And then the other part, the default mode network, is something that if you or anybody listening is in a creative place and loves, like trying to be creative, we really know what that's like. It's those times where like, I just got this idea. Oh my God, it came out, it feels like it came out of nowhere. Right. And it's usually when we're not paying attention. Right.
That's why so many good ideas happen when we're exercising or in the shower.
Well, and bingo. In fact, for me, I'm obsessed with my exercise every day. I have to do it. And it's when I'm getting these downloads of these ideas that are just coming to me, right? Aaron Sorkin, the writer Aaron Sorkin, Academy Award-winning screenwriter, he sometimes says when he's in writing mode, he'll take 7 showers a day.
Wow.
And so that what he's talking about, and he's as smart as they come, so he probably knows, but yeah, he's talking about the default mode network, and it's actually a part of your brain that turns off and then allows another part to turn on. So there is a physiological brain, a part of your brain component that is what the default mode network is. And that's one of the things I talk about in my talk is like Einstein. You may not, I didn't know this until fairly recently, but when he was coming up with the idea of relativity, he just started imagining what it'd be like to float alongside a beam of light. Like, what would it be like to hang out? And that is part of the default.
Float alongside what?
Float alongside a beam of light.
Oh, wow.
Right. Cool. So he's like, oh, what would it be like? Like, I'm going to hang with you.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's where Thomas Edison used to take a steel ball in his hand and then kind of sit in a chair and take a nap. And as soon as he'd nod off, he'd drop the ball and he'd be in that zone, and that would give him the answer to whatever he'd been working on. So
what does it have to do with being in a flow state? What's the difference between a default mode network and a flow state?
That is a good question. And and then it gives me a pause to make sure everybody knows, like, I'm not a scientist. Yeah. I'm a storyteller who got interested in science. I do talk about both of those in my book, in different places. I don't know exactly what happens physiologically. I know in the brain, the default mode network, there's parts that turn on. Flow state is actually more full body from what I've researched. Like your whole body is in that mode. So it's not necessarily, you can be like in this zone, I'm getting this project done, or I'm getting this, I'm doing my best performance or whatever. That may or may not be opening up that part of the brain that's giving you those creative ideas that you're not thinking about. So I would say that they could work together, but they don't necessarily work together.
Right.
But if there's somebody listening who knows more, tell us.
A flow state, because I've been reading a book about flow state and I'm an athlete. Flow state is more like when you kind of forget where you are and you get so immersed in the sport or the performance that you just like become one with the divine, and you kind of channel your performance and get your personality and ego out of the way.
Right.
And the default mode network is more like getting your ego out of the way to get like a intuitive hit or a download of.
Yes. And it's something it's like the only way to get there is by turning off a particular part of your brain so that the other parts can turn on.
Yeah, both of them turn off the egoic part of the brain and the personality, which I like to say on many episodes, your ego is not your amigo. So we are going to stop right here. Just take a really super quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we are going to hear Brownell's story and how she even got fascinated with the science behind wishing. Thank you for listening to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant show, and we'll be right back. Did you know collagen production starts declining in your mid-20s and decreases every year due to factors like stress, sun, and hormonal shifts? By your 40s and 50s, that change can become even more noticeable, not just in your skin, but in how your body feels. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the body, and it plays a key role in skin elasticity and glow, smoother looking skin, joint comfort and mobility, and healthy and connective tissue support. That's why I've been loving Amari New Collagen, a simple way to nourish from within to feel radiant at every age. Because beauty isn't about chasing youth. It's about supporting your body and feeling vibrant in the season you're in. Get the details and shop the link in the show notes for a special discount. If you haven't grabbed my Balanced Beautiful bundle, what are you waiting for? This is my gift to help you create success without burnout and to elevate every area of your life. Inside, you'll get a free digital copy of my best-selling book, How to Make a Six-Figure Income Working Part-Time, where I break down my signature 7 pillars of abundance and share 21 powerful affirmations to help bring every pillar to a level 10. You'll also receive my favorite ageless beauty tips, my life-changing abundance journal prompts, and the Elegant Warrior Manifesto. If you're ready to feel more balanced, more magnetic, and more abundant, head to the link in the show notes and grab all the goodness. Again, that's the link in the show notes, and I can't wait to hear what you think. Right back. Welcome back to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant podcast, where we take you from burned out to balanced, beautiful, and abundant. So, Brownell, how did you get fascinated with the science behind wishing? What is your origin story to find this type of work?
It's one of those things, and I know you know what this is like, is that sometimes you get in these moments when you're talking about the flow state or whatever, but is you feel like, okay, my whole life has led to this.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't know you were necessarily going there. It's like you feel like, okay, you're going this direction, this, and then all of a sudden it all kind of congeals. The most direct answer to that question is I was writing a novel, and I've written several novels. So I write fiction and nonfiction. And this one was kind of a magical realism type of story, semi-autobiographical. And it's written from the point of view of what I call the upstairs. And there's this team up here who's looking down at this character who's, modeled after me, going, why is she not doing what we want her to do? Why, and how they're trying to do their job from up there. So I'm in this whimsical world, and I decide, it's called A Love Story to the Universe, that book is. And it's written in 4 sections. And then when I was writing the 4th section, I'm thinking, I'm going to create this world. I call it Estrella. And it's this world of where wishes are, handled in the upper realms. Like someone will make a wish, and then a wish fairy will grab that wish, and then they'll decide how to process it and where do the wishes go. And it's this whole kind of magical world. And so I'm in what we call as writers, in this world building mode, right? Like you have to answer questions about the parameters of what this world is. And that's what, like I was saying, as far as the default mode network, you post a question to yourself, and then you just let it go until that particular answer is ready to come to you. And as an aside, I don't know if you've read the book Big Magic by Liz Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Have you ever read her book?
Yes. I think I've read both of the books. Yeah.
Yes. And she talks about these idea orbs that float around, and they'll land on the right person for the right message at the right time. And so anyway, but I planted this idea, like, okay, I had to decide what's the difference between a wish, a prayer, and a goal. How are wishes answered? How does this all work? And then one night I couldn't sleep. So sometimes when I can't sleep, I listen to science lectures, and usually it's over my head. So I'm like, I fall asleep because I'm just, it's so much that my brain can't handle. But this time it woke me up, like literally and figuratively. And I was like, wait a minute, is there science in wishing? And so I started just getting into this crazy research mode. And I cite over 70 different scientists in my book. So I went kind of crazy with the sciences. Yeah.
That's a lot of scientists.
A lot of scientists.
So are you now considered no longer a novelist, but a self-help guru, a wish fulfillment specialist? Like, what did this change your career or how you perceive yourself?
It may be expanded it. My first book was nonfiction. It's called 5 Reasons Why Bad Things Happen. So I started out writing that like in a nonfiction world, and then I got into this metaphysical fiction and these adventure stories. And I have a trilogy I came out with a year and a half ago. That's about this epic reincarnation mystery and love story, like a Da Vinci Code meets Outlander with reincarnation theme. And so I get into that too. And I still consider myself a storyteller. The bigger umbrella of what I call myself is an explorer. And that's one of the most profound experiences of my life was many, many years ago. And I met someone, he said, and I thought, oh, I had the answer to something. He said, no, you're an explorer, Brownell. You'll always be an explorer.
Nice.
So I started a Substack just so I can keep adding sciences because I keep finding more. Like I'm just exploring and I'm wanting to learn more. So I just wanted to open up this world to people and let them, see and feel and hear these possibilities. And but I still want to write stories, and I still want to, I've got the show that I'm doing, Cosmic Wishes show, where we help people take their wishes and we apply science to them. So I don't know. I've got a lot of identities, I guess. Maybe that's the Gemini in me.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. I'm a Gemini moon. So I have I call it entrepreneurial ADHD. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. So what is the most outlandish wish either you or any of your friends or clients have had fulfilled using this methodology?
Well, I won't say fulfilled yet, because it's only came out a few days ago. But this is one of those, like, if it happens, then okay, then I'm going to stand on the rooftop. Because when I asked, if somebody has a whimsical wish, right, and they could have a professional, personal wish or what I call a wish that ripples or a whimsical one, and they're like, they wish for the Mets to win the World Series.
That's what their wish is?
That's what their wish was, right?
Okay.
But what really happened, it was so beautiful as an outcome from that. First, we got really deep into the why of the wish. And that's super important. It's, people we'll throw out a wish, and I get into the whole idea of like wants versus needs, because we might say we want something, but what do we really need?
Mhm.
And when you get to the need, it's a much more powerful wish. And then when you get to the why, that's when it really gets stronger. And he had a story about how when right before he was born, like 2 or 3 months before he was born, was when they won the last time. And his father and grandfather was like, "We're going to take you. The Mets are going to go all the way again." And it hasn't happened in his lifetime. And he really wants to take his son and father, to a Mets World Series. And so it's this kind of whimsical wish. And yet we got really into a very beautiful discussion of the fact that there's so much negativity, and how one of the things about peaceful, positive, and purposeful is that we need to be wishing for and not against. And a lot of wishes are, I wish this wouldn't happen, or I wish this would stop happening. And that does not give us the power that we need to make the wish come true. And so by the end of it, in fact, he's still doing it. He's creating this whole Mets Yaysayers Reddit, so that we stop having the groups that he's not going to go to the groups that complain. He's going to start a group of like, what did we do right this week? And how can we celebrate these players that did their best? And how can we, start looking at the things that are winning? And I know, as an athlete too, that's extremely powerful.
Yes, it is.
So I mean, if they do go all the way, though, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take some credit for shifting the energy there.
We'll have to stay posted on that one.
I know. I'm very happy about that one.
I know Lady Gaga used to, before she was famous, she said to herself millions of times a day, "I'm so famous, I'm so famous, I'm so famous." What is actually happening in the brain when we focus on a wish repeatedly like that?
There are two things that I'll comment related to that. One is, yes, repeating it, because that is important to tell your brain that this is your identity, right? And you can understand that. I would be very cautious on some of that, though, because there's some actually really strong science that people like to say, "Oh, imagine you already have it and then you have it." That doesn't work for the brain from the science point of view. Because it does, if you think you already have it, there's a few things that happen scientifically. And I don't know if you ever watch Andrew Huberman, but he's one of
I love him.
Yeah. And he talks about this, is that what you want to say your wish, and you want to be able to see yourself doing it, you want to feel yourself doing it, and because that can uncover blocks, it can also make sure that you're in alignment with what your vision is on that. Good stuff. If you think you've already done it, then your brain doesn't work toward getting it. It turns off that part of your brain.
You don't believe in visualization?
I believe in visualization. Totally, because like I said, you want to see yourself doing it, and you also want to look at the parameters around it. How do you feel about it? How does it feel? How can you elevate and improve and expand when you're starting to visualize? Just don't go to this mindset of already have it.
Yeah,
that's the gap. That's where it becomes. And there's actually I have a chapter on it in my book. I call it The Problems and Pitfalls with Wishing, where people who have been in that mindset, "Oh, I can afford that house now, I'm going to buy it, even though I don't have that $1 million in the bank account, or I don't have this." And there are higher foreclosure rates on homes and pretty sad stuff that people are trying to trick themselves into thinking they already have something. So it not only prevents you, I won't say prevents you, but it doesn't give you that aid in getting it. It also, over analyzing it. And that's one of the things that's important, and that I talk about in my book, is the 4 responses to a wish. And you can get
what are the 4 responses to a wish?
Yeah, well, it's yes, and you get your wish.
Yeah.
No, and you don't. Wait, which means it's not the right time, and the wait could either be you're not ready, or the world isn't ready, or the conditions aren't ready, right? And then the 4th one is maybe there's something better.
I like that one.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that what becomes nuanced is that sometimes no is the better answer than yes.
You have to have faith that rejection is God's protection.
Yes. Yes. And it's the thank God for unanswered prayers sometimes is a one way to look at it. And sometimes we think we want something so badly, and that's the want versus need. And this is where my storyteller comes in. And the knowledge of storytelling is, we look at some of our favorite movies and books, and usually the protagonist will start out with wanting something, but by the end they find out what they need, and it's something different.
Wow, that's what happened to me. I mean, I moved to LA in 2001 because I wanted to be a movie star or a TV star so badly. And it didn't happen. And I was very sad about it for years. But then I found this beautiful medium of podcasting, and I'm pouring all my, entertainment, edutainment, performance mentality into this show and many other podcasts that I've been on. So that's kind of exactly what happened to me.
Well, and that's where, I'm excited to when we start getting into your wish and evolving your wish. Because what you've done is you've taken a wish that was one direction, and you've expanded it into something that is much more positive and purposeful, right? Yes. You're probably helping a lot more people with what you're doing than if you'd gone that direction. So you weren't a complete, it didn't happen, so stop it. But you did a massive, not only pivot, but expansive pivot.
I like that. And
yeah, because you were like this direction, if I go this way, I can look how many more people I can help. This is how much more I can impact others. Yeah. And that's the beauty of what you're doing and what you're bringing to the world and what you're bringing to your fans and followers and, on all the work you do. And, go from burnout, to abundant and all the things that you're showing people how to do. So that's a perfect example as a storyteller, one of the examples I like to use is Legally Blonde. If you know that, right? And she started out, she wanted to marry that guy, right? And that was not what she needed. And some of our favorite movies, in fact, I'd say almost most of our favorite movies, we find out they got what they needed. They didn't want something like I'm obsessed with Project Hail Mary that just came out and a few months ago. And, he wanted this, but he basically kind of was a don't want. And then he found something completely unexpected. And that's the beauty of the stories. You get to your needs. So you might want that Ferrari in your driveway, but do you need it? And the next day it's a used car. Is it really giving you what you need?
As you grow and mature and evolve, your wishes and your dreams can change as you change and as you evolve. So we are going to cut to another quick commercial break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about some people are scared to even ask for what they want because they don't think it's going to happen. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't go anywhere. We're on the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant show with Brownell Landrum, and we're talking about fulfilling your wishes today. We'll be right back. What if your dream retreat really existed and you got to help create it? If you're a high-achieving woman who's been doing all the things, I need your help. I'm planning my next luxury wellness retreat, and I don't want to create what I think women want. I want to create what you actually dream about. Tell me, what's your dream destination? What activities would light you up? What feels like the perfect investment, and how many days would help you truly reset and realign? Think wellness, connection, community, adventure, luxury, rest, and whatever feels nourishing to you. If you've been craving success without burnout, this retreat is being designed with women just like you in mind. Take my 2-minute survey. It's linked in the show notes, and who knows, your dream retreat might just become a reality. Do you feel like your love life is stagnating? Have you been single forever and feel like giving up on love? Or maybe you're in a relationship that's lost its magic. I want to give back to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant community with a complimentary 15-minute romantic reset call. It's a space to reconnect, reset, and recalibrate your energy around love. Together, we'll uncover what may be blocking connection and create a fresh spark so that you can feel more open, aligned, and ignited in your love life. Because love isn't about forcing or chasing. It's about creating space and becoming magnetic to the connection you truly desire. Get the details and book your complimentary reset call in the show notes.
Don't look back, let's go. Set the pace, watch me steal the show. Higher
Is today.
ground, I'm
We'll be right back.
This is my moment.
Welcome back. So, Brownell, there are people who are afraid to admit, even to themselves, what they really want because they had wishes and dreams in the past and they didn't come to reality. So, what would you say to someone who stopped dreaming big?
There are the hordes of answers to that. I'll tell you one of the first ones off the top of my head. And I talk about this in my book, and I wish I'd written about it. My wish, if I could have written a bit in my first book, I would have. It's something I'll call reverse optimism.
Reverse optimism.
Reverse optimism.
Okay.
And it's basically when you can look back and go, oh, that had to happen for this to happen, for that to happen, for this to happen to get me to where I am. If I hadn't done this, if this hadn't, even if you're looking back at the things that didn't work out or didn't feel good, or, you might be problems, going back and to be able to do this. And this Albert Bandura, I don't know if you know him, but psychologist and brilliant scientist, had so many great aspects. And I think this fits a lot along with his self-efficacy was his big thing. In fact, one of the things I write about him in my first book is that people who believe things happen for a reason are happier than those who don't.
True.
There's real science behind that. And so if they're feeling like this, they may not be really processing all the things that got them in a particular direction and where they're going. The other thing is that's really important, and I'm sure this is something that you talk about too, is what I call the three selves, right? Whether it's id, ego, super ego, or mind, body, spirit. When I wrote my first book, when I realized the body is the subconscious, that was this, big thing for me. Of course, that was 20 years ago, but and so what might be happening there is they're having a disconnect between their mind and body and spirit. And so they might want to think about what their wishes are and how their wishes might be. Their body might not want it. And for example, I was talking to somebody and they said, oh, I wish to lose 15 pounds, but it's really a goal. And they were kind of like, it's a goal, Brownell. It's more important than a wish. And I said, well, if you change your wish, it's going to be more powerful, because what you're going to do is you're going to talk to your body and say, what can we do to be healthier? Instead of having your body potentially sabotaged, because, spoiler alert, one of the 5 reasons why bad things happen is subconscious sabotage. Your body doesn't want to go that direction. Mm-hmm. And you can, like what you just said with your own story, you could be resentful that this particular wish or goal didn't happen, and it led you because you had that flexibility and that freedom, and you allowed that pivot and that expansion to take you in so much, a more beautiful direction. So, and also know how. So, who are you wishing for? Are you wishing for your higher self, wishing for your body, or is your conscious trying to override the wish? But if you're in alignment with your body, then it's going to be like, what kind of foods can we eat that we're going to love that make us feel better? Right? What kind of activities are we going to do? Instead of, I'm going to force myself to do this, what does your body want to do? Make it fun. And that's a much more powerful wish and a much more powerful than a goal.
So what are some of the other ways people sabotage themselves? I know that was what your first book was about, but
yes.
How can we get out of our own way when it comes to wishes and just achieving our goals in general and dreams?
Yeah, well, I've said some of them as far as, knowing your wants versus your needs. And there's a whole process to go through that to figure out the difference. understanding the stakes of getting what you want. I also have something that I call the motivation matrix. It's like a 4-square grid, and you put the things you want and don't want, have and don't have. So you've got a grid of things you want that you have. Let's nurture those. In fact, one of my favorite words is savor. Let's savor that. It's not just, have a nice warm bed. It's like, when you're in that bed, savor the luxury.
Yes.
Gratitude. It's more than just gratitude. Like, I'm happy it's immerse yourself in the joy of the things that you want, that you have. That's going to make you feel a lot more stronger as far as wishing. And then things you want that you don't have. Obviously, those are generally what we're wishing for. And then you want to look at the things that you don't want and have, right? Those are the things you eliminate. And the important thing about that is to refocus it into a positive instead of, okay, I have this, I don't want this. How do I work with my body if it's a physical thing to focus on that, to make that happen? And so instead of, like, I was talking to somebody recently and they're, this is a problem and this is an obstacle and the medical system's going against me and this is against me. And I said, that's not going to help you with your wish. You want to say, guide me to the people who are doing what I need. Guide me to the solution. Help me, because your subconscious sees, I think it's like 1 million or billion. I don't know. I always forget the number, so forgive me. But like impressions, bits of information per second, whereas our conscious gets 50. So we got the answers floating around. We just have to be able to know what to pull in and what to be aware of. So there's a lot of things like that we can start understanding those differences and make it fun. I mean, I think that's one of the big things is that we don't make it fun enough. And if it's not fun, one of the examples I use in my TED Talk is, imagine you're walking a dog and the dog runs off. What do?
I get hysterical because I'm obsessed with my dog. I don't want my dog to run away or get hurt.
Right. So either you're yelling at the dog or chasing the dog usually. Right? What if instead you go, hey, it's fun over here? The dog's going to go, okay, I'll go over here.
That actually works because my dog I have a black lab and she's obsessed with fetch. So she'll run away. We have like a little woods behind our house. But when I'm like, hey, you want to go to the park? She's like, whoop. She comes right away.
That's exactly right. And our bodies do the same thing.
Okay.
Our bodies do the same thing. When we say it's fun over here, our bodies we're going to make this fun. And even if it's, okay, I don't want to run my 5 miles today or whatever that is, you're like, yes, but if we can make it fun, let's make it fun. And we'll sing a song while we're doing it in our head, or we'll do something.
We'll listen to the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant show while we're doing it.
We'll listen to the Balanced, Beautiful, Abundant show, and we'll be thinking about, the joy and the gratitude that we have these bodies that can move us forward, and that, maybe it's a beautiful day. Maybe it's something that can give you joy. So that's one of my favorite examples is just, make it fun and you're going to do it. Losing 15 pounds isn't fun. And you might start sabotaging yourself, looking for healthier things to eat and activities that you enjoy doing that make your body feel good. And to make sure you check in with your body, I always say that you should name your body and she should have her own name.
What's your body called?
It's something very private, so I don't tell it publicly.
Okay, that's a private.
Well, it's a very interesting thing because once you start learning about this, you realize that, like, you and I aren't just having a conversation. Our higher selves are having a conversation at the same time, and our bodies or our subconscious is having a conversation at this time.
Yeah,
it's a 3-part deal that's happening. And as as an actor, I know, and certainly as a writer, I know about subtext, right?
Yes.
And so there's a favorite scene from the movie Annie Hall where they have they're having a conversation, but then the subtitle is the subtext where they're like, I wonder what she looks good without those clothes. I wonder, he thinks I'm an idiot, but that's not what they're saying on screen. Right? That's what their minds are thinking. So I have to hold that private, but,
okay.
But it's when it comes to you, they're going to tell you, you can't tell them. So I want your body to be named this. It's like, and mine was like totally as opposite of Brownell as you can get. I was like, where did that come from?
Can you walk us through your process for turning an ordinary wish into a cosmic wish?
Yeah, it's and I'm hoping to do an example with you directly for your own wish. But basically, what I do on my show, this is the most fun way to do it, because again, fun. And I have a story about this. Is that I was thinking, okay, I've got all these great sciences, and I could do a show where I'm talking to the channel on YouTube and reading a science and trying to explain it. And I was like, I'm bored. I'm bored just thinking about it, even though I love the topics, right? And then I thought, well, I could create cards and I could draw a card and read the science. I thought that would be fun. I thought, yeah. And then I'm talking to Rebecca, and Rebecca's like, oh, well, let's do a show. And I think, okay, now I know what I want to do. I want to do a show where I have these cards, and literally,
let's do it.
Cards.
Okay, so
and I draw a card, and then we apply the science.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. My wish is to do a TED Talk.
Okay, well, I can help you with that. So that's because I know the do's and the don'ts on that. So I can definitely help you.
That's just for an example.
Yeah, no, that's a good example. And so, and this is an interesting. So, at the top there are some sciences, little icons, and then explains the science, and then I read what the science is.
Okay.
And this one is in the category of social psychology and biology.
Okay.
Okay. And it's the oxytocin connection. And you've probably seen people do oracle cards, and they tell it. And I tell you, sometimes these come and they're like really wild because they fit so well with the wish. So anyway, collective wishing isn't just emotional; it's neurochemically powerful. Claremont's Paul Zak, known as Dr. Love for his oxytocin research, found that pro-social behavior, including shared rituals and meaningful storytelling, releases oxytocin in measurable amounts. The bonding hormone literally flows when humans wish together. Your wish circle is a chemistry lab. Use it. Beautiful. So that's something we can do. Is we can maybe ask your fans and followers, people listening, let's help and wish for Rebecca to find her wish and to look for those opportunities. And it just the simplest example of all is that you mention it, and I was like, I know the tricks. I know what not to do. And I know the tricks because I've done it.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden there's a bonding immediately. And one of my favorite cards in the deck is also the helper's high, and how much pleasure people get from helping and being asked to help. So we forget that power. So this is perfect though, because it works on a lot of levels. It's not just talking about how to manifest your wish of making that happen. It's also about what your talk should be about and how you're framing your talk. Because what you want to do in your talk is you want to connect.
Yes.
And you want to bond, and you want to have storytelling, because again, it says pro-social behavior, including shared rituals and meaningful storytelling, releases that oxytocin. So if your talk can help release the oxytocin in the people in the audience as well as people viewing it, then that is a much more powerful talk. Because it's one thing to get the talk, and it's another thing to get people watching it and viewing it and sharing it and feeling moved by it enough to do that.
Yeah, if it generates oxytocin, that's the audience is definitely bonding with me, and I'm bonding with the audience. So that's a very connected situation. Well, let's end with a couple rapid fire questions just for fun.
Okay.
Fill in the blank, Brownell. A wish becomes powerful when blank.
When you add science. That's easy.
The biggest misconception about manifestation is blank.
Is the thinking that all you have to do is say, I want this and it's going to happen.
One word that describes abundance is?
Being able to tap into the potential in the world.
One word.
Oh, one word. Potential.
Okay. If everyone in the world practiced wishing correctly, the world would be more blank.
Can I use 3 words?
Sure.
Peaceful, positive, and purposeful.
Love it. Okay, this or that. Which one do you believe in more, manifestation or action?
Action.
Vision board or journaling?
I have to say equal. I know that's not what you asked, but I think they both activate different parts of the brain.
Logic or intuition?
Intuition, because it opens up possibility beyond yourself.
Nice. Big wishes or small wishes?
Big.
Love it. If you could leave your audience with one final wish, what would it be?
Love.
Beautiful. And if somebody who is listening is feeling stuck, discouraged, and disconnected from their dreams, what is the very first wish they should give themselves permission to make today?
To be open to possibility.
Yes, just be open to possibility. You
Right.
don't have to
When you're
figure
feeling stuck. That's it. That's it. You need to open up. Yeah.
You know, they say be willing to be willing, and just be willing to be open. Maybe there's a solution that you are not seeing that will show up after this episode.
Maybe there's a pivot, an expansive pivot that's right in front of them. I did some research on that in terms of like, if you want this relationship and it's like, I want this relationship, I want this person. And then you instead go, okay, wait a minute. If it's not this person, if you get a no to that answer, what is it about that person, and open up. And then you've got an expansive pivot, right? To open up to something better and bigger and that you never imagined.
I like saying after my wish is this or something even better for all concerned.
Yes. That's purposeful.
Yes. I want to be open to something even better, that things are working out better than I can imagine, because there's a bigger force than me at work, and I want to be open to that. So I think being open is great, Brownell. So how can people find you, this show that you're creating that I'm going to be on, Cosmic Wishes Fulfilled? Where can they find you and your show and your books and all the things?
Yeah, my name is Brownell Landrum, so you can find me. I'm the only one in the world, so it's easy to Google me and find me on my YouTube channel is my number one. Cosmic Wishes is the show, so you can Google Cosmic Wishes and you'll find a few other things, but you'll find me as well. And I'm on, so find my YouTube channel is my favorite place, but I'm on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all of those good places as well.
All under Brownell Landrum.
All under Brownell Landrum. There's some things under Cosmic Wishes. My Substack is under Cosmic Wishes, but you'll find it under my name as well. So
great. Well, thank you so much, Brownell, for being on the show and teaching us about wishing. And thank you, listeners, for going on the journey with me, that you can be a high-achieving, successful person without the hustle and grind, but through aligning your life in the 7 pillars of abundance. Please share this show with a friend. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And until we meet again, keep your vibe high and magnetized. Bye, everyone. So excited to share a review from Melissa Myers, the Glow Girl. She says, inspiring podcast. Rebecca has a gift for creating meaningful, empowering conversations that leave you feeling inspired and uplifted. Balanced, beautiful, abundant is like sitting down with a wise, soulful friend who truly wants you to thrive in every area of your life. I love how she blends practical advice with spiritual insights. I'm so grateful I found it. Well, Melissa, we're so grateful that you found us, and we can't wait to find out how you are glowing and growing by using this podcast as a tool. And everybody who's listening and sharing, thank you so much for your support. And it's such a joy to be on this journey with you.